Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Boats on the 19th hole, and I'm going to be doing the Pro Expert guide for you all today. This is going to be the guide associated with the Great Outdoors Tournament, and this is going to be kind of like the pre-tournament guide, where we're going to walk through the holes 1 through 9, talk about different ways you can play each hole. We'll talk about club selection, ball selection, and then also some elevation changes that you may see during the tournament, and how that may affect the way you play some of these different routes and holes in this course. So we are going to start here in just 1 second. Be right back. All right, y'all, so we are going to start here. This is hole number 1, and we start out with a par 4. Now, this par 4 definitely has multiple ways that you can play it. If you have a really nice tailwind, you can definitely play this shot down the right side with a driver with a good amount of topspin and power. You definitely may want to consider using a power 3 or above ball for this shot, because you definitely want to get your shot far enough down the fairway where you are, past this tree line. What that's going to do is that's going to allow you a second shot towards the hole. You'll play that second shot at plus 10%. And really, from this circle right here, you're going to have a straight on shot to the hole and not have to worry about any of these trees over here. Whereas if you end up back here, then you got to worry about those trees. Not something that you want to have to worry about for this next shot. So your second shot towards the hole, plus 10%. You're going to land it most likely on the fairway section just before the green, and then use some spin, top spin or back spin to direct that one towards the hole as best as possible. That's the way you're going to play this shot from the right side. So the other way to play this hole would be from the left side. This would be a shot that you would play if you had like a headwind or a side wind. This would definitely be a play to play this hole. Plus 20% off the tee box. The shot plan to the right off the tee box is also plus 20%, just in case you wanted to know that as well. To the left is also plus 20%. You definitely want to have a ball that has a good amount of side spin, because you're going to be playing this shot through these trees to the left side. Max left spin, at least 5 bars of top spin for this shot, where you bounce off this fairway. Like I said, you go through these trees, and then you're going to do the rough bump here. You want that second bounce to hit the rough, and then you're going to roll out here, hopefully into that wide open fairway to the left. And that's the way you would play that shot. From here, you'd be sitting here for your second shot. You'd be playing plus 10% for this next shot, and most likely it's going to be a long iron, where you'll be bouncing off this pad right here over the bunker, and then rolling it out to the hole. The amount of spin that you're going to use for that shot definitely will depend on the type of wind that you have. If you have a headwind, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 bar top spin, side wind, tailwind, you're definitely not going to use 1 bar top spin, closer to probably half a bar top spin, if that. So that's the way you'd play the drive to the left. The other possibility on this hole, and it's been a shot that's been used the last couple times we've had this hole, is if you have the APOC and you want to use a Berserker Power 5 ball, you can go for the Power Curl shot. And basically what you're doing there is you're trying to hit right here on this area of the fairway, because it's kind of like a launching pad. It's kind of like got a slight slope to it upwards. So when the ball hits there, it flies high in the air over these trees. The money shot is if you hit this pad right here, and then you bounce up onto the fairway, onto the green, and roll back to the hole. That's like the best case scenario for that shot. Otherwise, you could be somewhere around the green, in the rough or in the bunker for sure, if you are able to execute that shot. And basically, it's one of those shots where you got to adjust for the wind, and then you got to adjust your rings for the power curl shot. So, that definitely depends on the type of club you have. So, like if you have the APOC 5, it's normally like a 20 ring adjustment. So you would adjust for your wind, and then you adjust your 20 rings. Full overpower, curl, and then full slice, let it go. And hopefully, cross your fingers and get that lucky bounce is really what it comes down to in the end. All right, next hole we have is hole number 2. And we got our first par 3 here, as you all can see. This is definitely a hole where you can play the rough bump. Is going to be your best option. Plus 30% is going to be the elevation change for this next shot. I definitely say the sniper is club of choice here, and then for ball, you're going to go with the kingmaker or some sort of a wind ball. Would definitely be the best way to play this hole. You're playing the rough bump to right in that area. Got to be very careful with this shot. Aim it too close to the edge of that rough fairway fringe, and a great right can definitely cost you severely. It'll put you back here in this bunker. So definitely a shot that you want to be very accurate with and precise on your wind adjustments. Plus 30% is the way you want to play this one. Something like 0 to 1 bar of backspin, and then you're going to use at least 2+ bars of side spin, depending on the location, of where you're letting this ball bounce. Basically, you're just trying to get that bump out of the rough, and then roll it to the hole. Definitely a really great ace opportunity here. The last few times we've had this hole, there have definitely been a lot of aces hit and sunk on this hole. If you do want to play the shot where you land it on the fairway before the bunker right there, that's also, a possible shot to play. And with that, you'd play somewhere with like 3 to 4 bars of backspin and 3 to 4 bars of left spin. And that shot would be also played with your wood club, so the sniper would be the best way to play it. You can also go with the guardian shot where you land the ball closer up to the end of the green and just use the full backspin. To me, the guardian shot's probably not a high ace percentage shot, but it's definitely a shot that can get you close to the hole if you seem to be having some issues with either of these other methods. Hole number 3 is next. I really like this hole. This is probably one of my favorite holes here on this course, for sure. And it's a par 5. It's really a par 5 that you had to get it right off the tee box. Plus 20% is definitely going to be your elevation change here. Club-wise, you want a club with some power. You also want a club with some curl potential if you need it. I like the extra mile, the APOC, the Thor, or the quarterback can be all used here. If you use the quarterback, you definitely will have to go into overpower. So extra mile and APOC are probably the 2 best clubs to use on this hole, because you do want the top spin as well for this hole. For your second shot, in the expert, going with the sniper. If you don't have a highly leveled sniper, then you got to go with something with at least 170 yards of power. So either the the big dog would definitely be another option as well. Maybe in the pro, go with the big dog if your sniper isn't quite as leveled. So ball wise, you got to go with the ball with side spin. So at least I would say at least the Kingmaker Titan. You definitely want a ball that has side spin on it, though. If you get a nice tailwind, you could possibly get away with using a katana ball as well. So we're really looking for landing spot right about there in the middle of that fairway. Remember, plus 20% is your adjustment. You want to get that ball to land just past the edge of that rough line and then bounce up the fairway to this area right here. Be careful with too much right spin, too much right curl. That bunker will come into play. Be careful with not putting enough spin and curl, because these bunkers and this rough will come into play. So definitely be very cautious on those. If you have a left to right wind, you probably don't need to worry about using any right curl. But if you have a right to left wind, then you are going to need to use some right curl. I'd say at least about a half a bar or more just to battle that wind. And the amount of curl you use will definitely depend on the wind strength. So in pro, you may have more of a tail right to left wind and not have to use a lot of curl. But in expert, maybe you have a stronger, like a side right to left wind. In that case, you want to use more curl. So top spin and right spin are definitely 2 of the key things to take away as being important on this drive. For your second shot, it's going to be 0% elevation change for your second shot. You're playing it up to this little area at the front of that fairway, and you're just basically making a shot where you're going to hit and then bounce over to this fairway and then roll it down towards the hole. Be careful of these trees right here. Using curl into those trees equals death and most likely probably a birdie. So don't do that. Definitely try to play your shot where you don't have to put yourself in the position where you need to use curl. So if you have a headwind, you got to use some topspin with a side wind and tailwind. 0 topspin to even maybe a little bit of backspin. The side spin to the right is definitely what you want to be able to use, somewhat like 4 to 5 bars of that. And just keep in mind that this green does slope down towards the pin, so if you are able to get your shot onto that green with any kind of momentum, the ball will roll. It will roll. I do want to caution you, do not play this shot short and end up in the bunker, the rough, or even the fairway for that matter, on the top of the green. It's a deathly hard chip to make that shot if you end up there. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the toughest chips in the game around the green. Usually that's like an easy end bringer for anywhere else. This green is so large and there's such a weird kind of elevation change from the top to the bottom of the screen. It's not a chip that you want to find yourself in the position trying to make to save your eagle. All right, that's hole number 3. Hole number 4 is next, and we got another par 3. Hole number 4, not 3. Hole number 4, par 3. All right, lots of different ways to play this hole. In my opinion, if you want to use a wood, it's going to be the sniper. If you want to use a driver, it's going to be the quarterback. The quarterback is going to be used for the rough bump. I think that's going to be the most common way that you see this hole played is the rough bump. And that shot will be played like that, plus 10% for your elevation change right here. Basically, you want to hit the rough, let the rough kind of deaden your shot, and then use that ball guide and side spin to take it to the hole. That's going to be your best method there. You're going to use anywhere from 1.5 to 4 bars of backspin on that shot. Very wind dependent. So if you have let's see, if you have a tailwind, let's do something like this. If you have a tailwind, you're going to use somewhere like 3.5 bars of backspin. If you have a headwind, something like 1.5, and then your side winds are going to be 2.5 bars of backspin, somewhere right in there. And then we can just fill in these other numbers like such. So those are the backspin numbers depending on what kind of a wind you get, and that can kind of help you decide, and those numbers maybe need tweaked a little bit. So don't definitely just say that's the way I'm going to play it and that's how it is. They may need tweaked, half a ring to a ring, in which you see right there. But that's definitely a great starting point for that shot. In most cases, you're going to be using max left spin to straighten that ball right out to the hole. And then also keep in mind with the extended and the compressed ball guide. So if you have a tailwind, you don't want to aim your ball guide all the way through the hole. Play a little bit of that extended ball guide. If you have more of a headwind, then you are going to need to aim that ball guide a little bit more through the hole than normal because of that compressed ball guide. That is the rough bump. So let's talk about some of the other methods to play this hole. Just erase back here, and then we'll talk about some of the other methods. It's still going to be a plus 10% no matter which way you play this hole, though. If you get a nice tailwind, you could definitely play a sniper shot, like right here, and that's also a pretty good way to play this hole because the sniper has a really nice ball guide, so you can play it that way. If you are going to play it that way, you're going to play 0 to about 1 bar of backspin. You want to play the shot along the left edge of that bunker, and then just use side spin to aim that shot towards the hole. You can also play driver shots with more backspin. You can either play one from the right side or from this left side, and those would be used more in the case of tailwind. of side winds. If you have a right to left side wind, you play the shot over here. If you have a right to left tailwind, you play the shot on the right side. If you have a left to right tailwind, you play the shot on the left side. Basically, playing it those ways is, you're putting backspin on the shot, you're using side spin as needed to, direct that shot towards the hole, maybe even a little bit of curl as well. But in my opinion, either the sniper shot straight at the hole, like you see here, or the rough bump are going to be the two preferred methods for this hole. As far as the ball go, kingmakers and then win balls will definitely be good choices. Hole number 5 is next. And hole number 5 is par 4. This is one of those par 4s that the extra drop could take you really far if you can get this extra drop. As far as the club goes, drivers with distance, extra mile, APOC, Thor, definitely good choices. Woods, either sniper or the Guardian. And then for your irons, the Goliath, the Saturn are both good. You definitely like that backspin for that second shot. And then possibly either the Hornet or the Thorn if you do play the power hook shot. So we'll talk about the power hook shot first. A lot of people like to play the power hook shot. For this shot, you need to load up with a strong driver and a good ball as well. And it's mostly played about in this area right here, where you bounce here, and with top spin and a little bit of left spin, you're going to bounce up this fairway and then roll up into hopefully somewhere in that zone right there. From there, you have a very nice little thorn shot to the hole for a very makeable eagle. I think that's going to be your best option at making the eagle. A lot of things will depend on the wind we see for that shot, if it's possible at all. So if we have wind that causes that shot to not be something that we can play, you can play the shot to the right here, or you can play the shot to the left over here. That's also a possibility. If you're playing the shot to the left, I would use no more than 2 bars of topspin. Otherwise, you could definitely roll off into this into the rough right there. Playing the shot to the right, though, you're definitely going to use more topspin, at least 4 bars of topspin. And that's more of a shot you're going to play if we have some sort of a headwind for our tee shot. Plus 10%. Sorry, I did not mention this earlier. Plus 10% off the tee box for that shot. If you're playing it from the left side, or if you're playing it from the right side for your second shots, 0%. Play those ones at 0%. Your second shot will be toward the hole here, most likely with long iron. This one from the right side, you either can fly over to that fairway section with a lot of backspin in the wood. That would be a Guardian shot. Or you can play the bounce over, where you bounce it from over here over to about that same landing spot and then roll it towards the hole. And that would be most likely a long iron shot, playing it that way. All right. So that's hole number 5. Hole number 6 here is another par. Is it hole number 6 a par 5? Yeah, hole 6 is a par 5. Hole 6, par 5. This is a shot right here. We're playing plus 20% off the tee box. No matter which way you play this one, you can play it to the left side, try to set up the rough bump, or you can play it straight. You can play it a little bit more conservative to the right side. If you are playing to the left side, you definitely want a power driver, so extra mile APOC, and you may have to consider even going up ball strength. The power 3 ball can do it, but power 4 ball makes the shot a little bit easier. If you have a tailwind, we'll be able to hit and bounce over in one shot and roll out pretty decently. But if we have a side wind or any kind of a side headwind, then you may have to consider more of the double bounce over, and whether or not that'll hit the rough and roll out or hit the fairway and roll out, then that'll definitely put you in a little bit different of a position if you have to play the double bounce off the drive. So hopefully we get a tailwind or a side wind that favors us to be able to make that shot to the second fairway on the left and get far down there. The reason why we want to get far enough is because we want to set ourselves up for the rough bump that would play at plus 5%. At least 3-ish bars of topspin for this shot. You land it in the rough with topspin and then roll it out, hopefully drop it in the hole for the albatross. And that's going to be the best way to get the albatross on this hole. For some reason, if you're not as far up in the fairway as my circle shows, maybe you're back here, you may not be able to play the rough bump, in which case you'll just have to play the skip shot where you bounce from here over the rough into the green that way. So if you're going to play the shot to the right side, we're still going to play the plus 20% for the drive, but you're just going to be playing it, a little bit more conservatively. Top spin, right spin, trying to get your shot up in that area right there. From there, for your second shot, we'll be playing plus 10% for your second shot this way. Either the big dog, where you go around these trees and over, or you go over these trees, you hit this little gap in the trees, hit the rough with topspin, and roll out that way. Those will be the two options playing it to the right side on this hole. So you either got to play to the left and play the rough bump for your second shot, or play it to the right side and play the rough bump, or a shot to the fairway with left curl. Those will be your options for hole number 6. Hole number 7 is next. Hole, another par 3. And this par 3 right here was a really fun par 3 last time we had it. We had it pretty dialed in. Got some nice aces. It really depends as far as the wind that we see, and then also the ball that you're going to use. Because if you use a lower level ball, you're probably going to be playing the shot with the long iron. I mean, not the long iron, the wood. But if you do use more of a power ball, then you're going to be looking at more of a Goliath shot. And the Goliath shot is the one that I like. You want to bounce it right about there, over the bunker, land it here on this fairway section, and then roll it out to the hole. Aim left at the hole and use that left to right kind of slope to roll it into the hole. That's going to be the best way to play this hole. We will play plus 10% for this tee shot, plus 10%. And you're going to definitely going to use top spin, a little bit of top spin, and a lot of right side spin to direct that ball. The reason we land this shot over there as opposed to right here is because we don't want to go over the bunker. We'd rather go around the bunker, which is the reason why we have to use that right spin. Is because we're trying to avoid, the hazard. Going into the bunker is almost like just putting a par down on the scorecard here on this hole. Do keep in mind, if you hit too far, use too much topspin, the ball can roll through this green and put you back here in this rough area right here. Definitely something else that you don't want to do. So it's very important to kind of really zone in on those spins so that you keep that ball around the hole. Give yourself a chance to get the ace, but definitely don't put yourself in a position to get the par. Kingmaker ball or wind ball would definitely be the ways to go as far as the ball goes. Hole number 8 here. This is definitely a must eagle hole on this course, for sure. Landing spot's going to be right there. Bounce over the bunkers. We want to land here in this rough and then roll out to the hole. Possibly get the hole-in-one here on this par 4. Definitely is possible. This shot is played a lot of the times with the quarterback. You play it plus 10% off the tee box, and you always play this shot in max distance. So always just play max adjustment numbers on this shot. You're going to use your top spin depending on what kind of a wind we have. If we have a straight tailwind, about 3 bars of topspin. If you have a crosswind, 4 bars of topspin. Headwind, 5 bars of topspin. If you have higher level headwinds, like 8 plus, then you got to go with even more topspin. Do keep in mind the compressed and extended ball guide do come into play. So let's say we have a headwind. You're going to be aiming your landing much closer up to the front edge of this rough line. If you have a strong tailwind, you're going to be aiming your landing much farther back in this rough line, because you just have to kind of play for that wind to push that ball a little bit extra, in addition to what you change for your ring numbers. There is one other shot that's definitely possible if you have like a Thor or an APOC with some good backspin. You can play a shot right in here with right spin and backspin and bounce it towards the hole that way. That's definitely another option that you can play on this hole. So 5 to 6 bars of backspin, max right spin, and then you're going to be using curl. You're not going to be using your full amount of curl, but you're going to be using a good amount of your curl. And that curl amount also may depend on the type of wind that you have. If you have strong left to right wind, not as much will be required, but if you have right to left wind, you're definitely going to want to ratchet up that curl to the right as well. Alright, we got one final hole left to talk about, and that is hole number 9. And we end in with a par 5. So, for this hole right here, you have options. You can play it to the right side, in which case you're going to play plus 10%. You can play it to the right side either off a rough bump right here and roll it out, or you can play it to the right side off this fairway and then roll it out to the top. I would suggest going with the rough bump. Probably going to be the better way to play it. If you have a strong right to left wind, then you may want to actually even play the rough bump here with left spin and roll it out that way. So that's definitely another possibility for this hole, is the rough bump on each side, depending on the wind. The option that I think you'll see most people play is going to be playing the shot to the left side, which is going to be 0% for your wind adjustment. And you're either going to see people bouncing their shot over, or, depending on the wind and the ball club selection, you may see some people actually land their shot over in this next fairway and be able to get their shot much farther up into the fairway. Bounce over shot, I would guess you're somewhere in here. If you're able to fly it in the air, then you're up in that second circle area. From there, from the second circle area, you have a chance at the rough bump here. Definitely possibility. You could also play a shot up here to the fairway with some right spin and backspin and roll it back. If you're in the back area here, you definitely want to pack your longer wood, and you're going to be playing a shot more off the fairway section right here, and using the back of that green. Just remember, the back of the screen does slope back towards the hole, so definitely make sure to use that to your advantage if you have the ability to do so. You play that shot, your second shot will be 0% once again. So if you're playing a shot to the right and you're up here on the edge of this fairway, if you get far enough up, you'll be able to play the shot to the second fairway with 3 bars of topspin in your wood, and definitely get onto the green that way. You are going to be playing with a minus 10% for your second shot over here. If you're farther back in this right fairway, you may have to play the skip shot off this first fairway, which means you're going to have to ratchet up that topspin to 5-6 bars of topspin. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but if you're playing with a sniper and that long ball guide, you'll still be able to see where you're hitting this ball. Always remember, the green does slope back to the hole, so if you go a little bit past the hole, it's not going to hurt you. You're still going to be in good position for that eagle putt. Alright, that is going to do it for the Pro Expert playthrough for the upcoming tournament. Hopefully you all learned a thing or two, and if you liked the video, definitely give it a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. If you like the channel, if you aren't subscribed already, definitely hit that subscription button, and then also go and check your notifications to make sure that it is set up so that you do receive notifications when I do release new video content, or even go live during the tournament week. Definitely would love to see you all in the live stream. If you have Facebook, you're looking for a community on Facebook, I have a community called Golf Clash the 19th Hole. It's definitely a great community. It's set up for people to join and ask questions, especially if they're like newer to the game or just curious about different aspects of the game. We have a lot of people there that are ready to help and answer your questions and help you improve your Golf Clash skills. If you're looking for someone else to check out, I would definitely recommend checking out my friend Gio Viviani on his channel, Golf Clash Italy. He has a channel set up where you can watch multiple people play, not just him. And it's all different types of skill levels: rookie, pro, expert, masters. Geo normally plays like a lot of the higher level content. A lot of times you'll see him on there streaming and grinding in higher level tours. So it's definitely a great way to kind of watch someone play the higher level content and maybe learn a thing or two. He's also got a new series he's going. It's kind of like a parody series where it's almost like the Road to Glory type thing, where he's starting at the bottom and working all of his way up. And it's definitely something great to check out. So definitely check that out if you get a chance. I'd appreciate that. All right, y'all, take care. Have a good day. Good luck in the Great Outdoors Tournament. God bless.